a wish for ones with a secret. And if I manifest best, guess I'll keep it. I'm so good with the flow, new flow, up phones one day. Thoughts come, what's run, yes, I need it.
All right, so we will go ahead and hit the ground running. My name is Carly McCurry. I am the editor of the Cute with Origin magazine, and welcome to Pop Culture Cuties, the podcast that blends local businesses with the broader pop culture. Each week, I sit down with North Georgia's movers and shakers, business owners, creatives, industry insiders to talk about their work, their journey, and how their field connects to the broader cultural landscape. So if you love great conversations over tea and wine, this is the place for you. So join me for discussion and a deep dive into the trends shaping both business and everyday life in North Georgia and beyond. This week, I'll be chatting with Doggytography, which is a pet photography business owned and operated by Cherin Thompson. Welcome, Cherin. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
So let's get started. What started your photography journey, and how did you learn your craft?
Well, I started back in 2020. My heart dog, Jazzy, she passed away in 2019. And I've always loved photography, and I've been taking photos for as long as I can remember. But with her, I wanted to take some photos. Sorry, it is kind of a hard thing because I still miss her every day. But she actually kind of got me realizing that dog photography is what I wanted to do. I mean, I love landscape photography and I still do all that. But I tried getting, as much photos as I could, especially her last year. And while I have a lot of nice photos, I know they could have been better, and I do wish that I knew what I know now, that I could have gotten those really, really good photos.
Sure. I mean, we can all relate to losing a pet and how much those photos meant to us later on.
Exactly.
What made you decide to start a formal dog photography or pet photography business?
Well, because I know how much I regretted not having those photos, and I didn't want to feel that way again. And I think I didn't want other people to feel that way either. And so I made it a mission, to learn how to take better dog photos and better pet photos. There's several, of course, now with social media and YouTube and all that, you get a lot of educational material that you can find online. So, I went through that. I joined some groups and, and I kind of went, did that, made sure, I'm still improving every day. I mean, there's always room for improvement. I mean, you never know it all, so that's kind of how I got into it. Actually, in fact, my logo, Jazzy is a part of my logo because she was my inspiration to actually start dog photography and make, like I said, I want other pet parents not to feel any regret at the end, and to make sure that, they know they have all the beautiful photos of their dog that they can cherish forever. And, and that's why, and I know like a lot of people do, a lot of photographers do like digital files and stuff. And yeah, I can do that and stuff, but I specialize more in print because I feel that you do digital files, people, it's like, okay, I got the digital files, but how often do you look at those digital files?
That's a good point.
But if you have it up hanging on the wall, you can look at it every day. You can, remember, admire. You can have, other people come. They're like, oh my God, that's a beautiful photo, and then it's a wonderful, topic. It's a good way to start a discussion. I mean,
sure.
And that's kind of what I want to focus on is, providing that for other people.
That makes a lot of sense. So who is it that buys pet photography? Like, who's your primary demographic?
Well, I've got, clients. It kind of depends. I mean, whoever, decides that, I would say because I specialize more in dog photography. I can do like the others, but mostly I get dog photography clients, and people just love their dogs and treat them, I guess you could say, they're part of the family, and just like you would want to have portrait sessions with your family and your kids and stuff like that, you have dogs that are part of the family, and they're almost like, they're your fur baby. So people love that, and they want to have those memories. And so, yeah.
And so it's kind of a broad demographic then. It's not just one age group.
No. It's a pretty broad demographic. I also try and whenever I can, I go to the animal shelter and take photos for them to kind of help, get dogs adopted. Because, there's so many dogs out there that need homes. And,
oh, yeah. Well, that's a great idea. What is it like to run a pet photography business in the North Atlanta market? Like, is there a lot of competition?
Well, so I just moved here about a year and a half ago. So it's almost like I'm rebuilding my business, you can say, because I have to, go out and, get new clients. It's not something I can do online because I have to physically go there and take photos. Now, if you go into Atlanta, I think there are a lot of like photographers who, they might have like portrait photographers or family photographers that also do, animal or pet photography, but there aren't that many people that specifically specialize in pet photography. So that's, of course, a good thing. Getting out there and talking to people, I think also out here, like in a small town, it just seems to be a lot easier to talk to people and to get to know people.
Right. And the specialization is such an important distinction.
Right.
And moreover, again, it seems like you must rely on a lot of word of mouth, a lot of connection building, right?
Exactly.
Going out and networking. When I was a teacher, I often talked about the importance of gaining soft ties. So many people my age, in their early 30s or in their early 20s, they don't grasp the importance of your soft ties, of your social network, right? Of going out and grabbing a drink after work with the boss or your coworkers. They think I spend enough time with my coworkers during the day, but it's meaningful to make these connections. Not only is it good for your mental health, but when it comes time to maybe finding clients later on or seeking a job, having knowing a guy is going to go a lot further than being one application in a pile of Indeed.com applications. So it sounds like you kind of take advantage of that social network, which is so important.
Yeah, I do kind of miss those days where you could actually physically go in and, apply for a job versus, being just number, online. But yeah, and so I think people forget about the connections and how important they are. I still have like my clients that I have taken photos of like dogs in the past, I'm still friends with them. I reach out to them every now and then. We just, talk and stuff. It's nice, to be able to make that connection, like you said, versus just thinking of them as, just another client and just another job, So,
yeah, because if you want to succeed in business, it doesn't matter which century you're in. These connections are meaningful. For instance, I'm a writer, and people might think that as a writer, painter, creative, photographer, like the only thing that you have to do is to do the craft, but that is so not true. If you're a creative person, you have to be willing to go out there and meet your audience where they're at. You have to go and cultivate these relationships, cultivate an audience. You have to have a great product, right? Because if you're a painter that draws stick figures, nobody's going to look at what you do. But nobody's also going to look at what you do if you're Van Gogh, right? Van Gogh died after selling one painting to his father-in-law because he didn't get the word out. So as a creative, you also have to be a salesman for your own product.
Most definitely. I think actually because, people think, you just focus all on your craft, like you said, but there is a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into just, making, going out and photographing is like maybe like a fraction of what you have to do owning your own business. And I do everything myself. So from trying to do the social media, for trying to keep my website, and and the contacts, and then scheduling, and I mean all that. I mean, it's a lot of work,
And then
but I mean I love it.
afterward, right? So like you take the pictures, but then you have all of the work of processing, and so that's something that a lot of creatives, that's where they tend to go off track, is they don't realize how much of their industry is business and sales and that so-called grunt work. Okay, so now working with pets, I bet you got a bunch of these. Do you have any funny or unexpected stories from your experience?
I do have some. I mean, dogs just have, our pets, they have their own personalities. So it's just kind of, it's fun. I get to play with them all the time, so it's just kind of cool. I remember this one mini Aussie, little puppy. Oh my gosh, she was just the cutest thing. And of course, when I'm trying to take action shots, I'm down on the ground. I'm having the dog run towards me, so I have the owner throw the ball towards me, like towards my camera, and have the little puppy run towards me. And that puppy was just so cute. Excuse me. She would just run straight into my arms. It was like, I mean, she wouldn't stop. She would just come running straight into my arms, and then like cuddle, trying to get all cuddly with me and all that. And every single time she would do that. And it was just the cutest thing. And actually, I do have a video of it too. I've got to find it, but I do have a video. And she just kind of like goes and her legs like dangling, like up in the air, and she's, trying to get even like closer and like in between my arms and stuff.
Crazy. That's what, I love them though.
And they're beautiful, beautiful dogs.
And I've seen your work. Your work is actually quite exceptional. It's really high quality stuff. I posted it, for those watching, I posted some of the photos on North Jordan. They are really well done.
Thank you.
So what advice do you have for aspiring pet photographers?
I'm sorry, for what?
Aspiring pet photographers.
Okay. Yeah, as far as taking photos, I know a lot of, the habit is to kind of like take photos at eye level. But like with pets, you kind of want to get down to their level. Because you want to see, so you want to get down as low as possible. And sometimes, I'm like in the mud, I'm like sitting there and like, just all these funny positions, making noises to try and get their attention, but yeah, I think the best thing to do is obviously try different, don't stick with the comfort zone of, just taking eye level photos, even in other photography. Try from taking overhead, or taking down low, shooting up from low, and just try and see. You might be surprised at what you find that that you actually like. Because it takes a while to find your style, so you need to experiment so that what you really like.
It makes me think of Miss Frizzle. The quote, it's take a risk, make mistakes, let's get messy.
Exactly.
So you don't go dressed like Lively then, right?
Sorry?
So you won't go dressed like Blake Lively. You're going to have on some shorts or pants that you're willing to get messy.
Yeah, you get it. I'm in my jeans, and, and also, you do have to figure out, because you're talking about taking, say, if you want to do natural light photos. So depending on what you wear, that could also have an impact, because, you want to have something that maybe, say if you had a lighter color, even though you're down in the mud and stuff and you're going to get dirty, but a lighter color would make a difference compared to a dark color shirt, because, dark, the light, just kind of gets sucked in, versus having, reflective, with a lighter color where it, it can reflect off of you.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, they're just, just things like that, little things that you can, I have also a little, of course, you want to get treats, because, dogs, high value treats, is a good way. to get their attention if they're very food oriented, because some dogs aren't, and then that's fun to try and deal with. But also I have a bunch of noisemakers because different noises kind of attract their attention. But when you do that, you got to be sure that you're ready to take the shot, because after like maybe the second time, they're like, okay, I recognize this noise. It's no longer of interest to me, and then I'll move on.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So
Every time
short attention span.
So we're going to move on to the next sequence of our show, and we're going to transfer into our rapid fire questions.
Oh,
so this is where we get to get to know you personally.
Okay.
So starting with our first rapid fire question, and just answer these in about 3 to 5 words. What's a guilty pleasure, TV show or movie?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
What's a guilty pleasure, TV show or movie?
You said what's my okay, guilty pleasure. Actually, I'm gonna say reading. I know it's not a choice, but
Which one? Which book?
Well, so I like detective fiction, and I have been reading books by Iris Johansen and Karen Slaughter lately. So I kind of actually. And my friend gave me another book, and actually I haven't had a chance to start it, and I am trying to remember what it is, because I have not. I put it on my coffee table, and I didn't get a chance to look at it.
That's all of us. That's just all of us. All right, so what's a trend that you wish would make a comeback? We're getting skinny jeans back, okay, so that's cool, but what's a trend that you want to see come back into the cultural zeitgeist?
Goodness, I have not thought of that.
Even in terms of photography.
Sorry?
Even in terms of photography.
Photography? Okay, I know, and people do this still. When you're talking about photography, the one thing I would have loved to learn is actually like film development. So
yeah,
see that, like the dark room, and actually like with old style cameras and stuff like that. I mean, I used to take obviously photos with like the old style cameras, but I'd always take it and get it developed. But I would have loved to learn how to do it myself.
Oh yeah, that gives me memories of the 1990s and TV shows and all that. So, are you a coffee, tea, or wine girl?
Coffee for sure.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I will take all of them at different times of the day, but coffee. Mainline coffee, Lorelai Gilmore style, IV, straight into the veins. Would you rather be a famous social media influencer or an actress?
I would go with actress.
Okay. Why an actress?
I don't know. I've loved
the camera.
Yeah, I love theater. So
yeah,
and growing up, I've done commercials and I've been on stage and stuff, and I always enjoyed it. So
that's very cool. All right. So we're now going to go to step 3. Now that we've gotten to know you a little bit, and we're going to connect your business to the broader pop culture. And if we're talking about dogs and pop culture, I absolutely have to talk about Bluey. And what I'm going to start with is, I don't even have to say what Bluey is. We all know what Bluey is. Like if you go to Walmart and you're buying eggs, there's going to be like a shelf of Bluey stuffed animals there. I mean, there's no escaping the Australian blue dog, especially if you have kids. I know today I had a doctor's appointment and I had to take my daughter, and the whole way there, we were playing the Bluey album over the radio.
Oh, wow.
It was, I like to think that I'm an adult and I don't have to do things that I don't want to do. Right. And that I don't have to listen to the blue dog if I don't want to. But she's very persuasive because she'll scream until I put it on. So,
wow.
So in Bluey news, the latest Bluey news is that there is a Bluey cereal. And I discovered this at the supermarket. My daughter kept saying, Bluey! And I thought she was just talking to herself and being weird and, like being a baby. But then I saw that there was an actual Bluey cereal, and it's awful. Have you seen it?
I mean, you've tried it?
I haven't tried it. I won't try it. The box is so off-putting.
Well, so I looked into this. I was just kind of curious about it. It's got this, I'm not sure about like a bluish yellow kind of combination, but a lot of people are saying it's like Kicks with color. And so I was kind of looking at it, and it kind of looks like that actually, and it's made by the same company. So
it looks to me like mold. It looks like a bowl of mold.
The color is not exactly, the color is not exactly appetizing, which is probably not, it doesn't do well for their marketing strategy.
It's not even blue and orange, you know? It's this light blue and light green, and I can just imagine when milk gets on it, especially if it's like eggs. And it's just
that would be an
of
interesting,
mold.
That would be interesting.
Yes.
And then is it really good for you to have all that colored stuff in your body?
There's nothing about it. There's no redeeming qualities of the Bluey cereal. And that actually, speaking of Bluey, this reminds me of a time that I accidentally hosted a kids-themed event. It was a Bluey event, and it turned into a baby rave. Completely unintentional. I didn't understand the power of Bluey. So I hosted an event that was for kids.
An event.
Yeah, I hosted this event, and I didn't do tickets. That's how I learned to do tickets. Because I didn't know that Bluey was so popular, and I ended up inviting, I'm like, just, come, pay $5, we'll have a Bluey party. And there was standing room only. People had to leave because there were so many people shoulder to shoulder, and it overwhelmed the air conditioning so much that it caught on fire. Like, upstairs, nobody even knew about it until it was over. We just noticed the air conditioner was off. But I had this like mosh pit, and I'm not kidding. It was a mosh pit of 1 to 8 years old, just, and I gave them glow sticks and masks at the beginning. So like Bluey masks. So you just got these babies going, to the Bluey theme song with their masks on. It was like 2001 Paris Hilton party scene all over again.
I can't even imagine the cleanup for the.
It was hours. Babies can party. Babies can party.
Wow.
So the power of Bluey is huge.
Well, and I'll be honest. I did not know about Bluey until my nephews. I was visiting one time. My nephews were watching. I'm like, what is this? And they absolutely love it. And that's, if it wasn't for them, I would have had no clue what you were talking about.
Yeah, no, that if there's a kid in your life, you will know about Bluey. Like, you will find out.
And then, of course, you gotta watch it over and over and over.
And over again. I know it by heart. I can tell you. We won't get into the trivia. But one thing I found very funny, because my daughter's birthday was Bluey themed, I did the Bluey party, is that there's this whole secondary market of off-brand Bluey products. And they call them like the Blue Dog or Blue Healer products. And it's like carried off-brand Bluey, or it's just like a literal Blue Healer. Just a picture of a Blue Healer, and it's like blue and orange items. But the picture of the literal Blue Healer is my favorite. That's just hilarious to me. Because they can't afford the copyright,
Right, exactly. So it's like the generic version, I guess.
Yeah, it's a literal Blue Healer. It's amazing.
I don't know if I've seen that.
It's hilarious. So, famous dogs in pop culture, if pop culture cuties, and if we're going to relate it to your brand, we have to talk about famous dogs, real ones. So, real or fictional, who is your favorite celebrity dog?
Okay, I'm gonna go like way back. Well, I say way back, but Toto from The Wizard of Oz.
That is so good.
That was my first, I guess the first dog I loved growing up. And my parents had bought me this little dog that would have battery operated and it had a little chain, you know, the little leash, and it would just kind of sit, wag its tail, and then it'll bark, and then it'll walk with you a little bit and do the same thing over and over again. And I had, because I loved Wizard of Oz, so my parents had bought me these shoes, these like maroon shoes. Oh. I would literally go around the house, tap in my shoes and walk in this dog, you know, pretending I was Dorothy and, you know, Toto, my dog. And I mean, I absolutely love, I don't know. I've always loved Toto.
Now, every little girl has that memory. That's such a good pick. I would say of two celebrity dogs. One is Wishbone. So all the 90s kids on the broadcast, they know what I'm talking about. And, of course, Doug the Pug. Not as big now, but in like 2014, Doug the Pug dominated the internet. I had Doug the Pug calendars. Mugs. He wasn't looking now, but he basically is like a pug, and the owners just put him in cute pop culture outfits, and people go nuts. And by people, I mean me. And now,
you were a dog. I mean, you can't not go nuts over a dog. I mean,
and it's a costume,
in a costume, exactly.
A costume dog. That's the millennial love language. So, do you by chance remember the Paris Hilton's Chihuahua era?
Oh, is that okay? Would she carry the dog in her purse and stuff like that?
Yeah. Accessories.
Yes.
There was this weird moment in time where pets had accessories.
Yeah, exactly. Like, which takes you kind of like to the same, Legally Blonde? She kind of had that same vibe going, I guess. The dog, you know, her little dog in her backpack, carrying her everywhere.
That.
Yeah, pink.
I can't believe I forgot about him. I think Paris Hilton's dog is like Harakuju or something like that. I searched this, you know, because I was curious. I was thinking of famous dogs, and I thought of Paris Hilton's dog, and I thought, well, I wonder how old the dog is. And I thought to myself, there's no way that dog's still alive. But that dog, he did pass away, but he didn't pass away until like 2023. I mean, that dog lived his glorious life.
Wow. How old was he then?
He must have been like 20 years old.
Wow.
I mean, he lived a glorious, long life. Cheers to you, Rakuju. And the great dog person in the sky.
I really wish, dogs could just live forever, you know?
Oh,
I mean, it's so hard to say. It's hard to say goodbye to anyone, but I mean, I don't know, just dogs, they have that unconditional love, and they just, even if, with their last breath, they're just like, we trust you, and, and it's, I don't know.
For sure. That's why you need to get your dog photographed, and that's why you need to reach out to Doggytography to take photos to cherish from this point onward. Well, guys, that is all for today. I can't wait for you to tune in next week when we sit down with On the River Weddings from Helen, Georgia, which is that charming little chapel on the river, the Chattahoochee. We'll explore the chapel's rich history, the experience of running a wedding venue in Helen, the latest trends in the wedding industry, the ins and outs of coordinating every aspect of a wedding from start to finish. We'll also explore, and this is really cool, their intriguing dress rental service and the variety of options that they offer, including enchanting outdoor night weddings, all set against the serene backdrop of the river. This is truly one of the most unique and fascinating businesses I have ever interviewed. Now, Ms. Cherin, how can our listeners connect with you?
So I do have a Facebook page, My Doggytography, Facebook at My Doggytography. And I do have Instagram, Doggytography. And of course, you can always check out my website, doggytography.com. And I've got, full disclosure, everything like my pricing, like how I got started, and, more photos for you to check out. And I mean, feel free to drop me a line. I would love to hear from you. And, we can customize packages according to what you want. So nothing's set in stone.
That's very cool. And guys, if you're like an Instagram scroller like me, like Instagram is the equivalent to like a hot bath for me because of all the beautiful imagery. Hers is a page you should follow because she really is a very talented photographer.
Thank you.
Of course. Now, if you guys want to connect with me, you can always connect with me via Instagram, but also Facebook and my website, the Cute North Georgian Magazine. So there you have it. Good night. God bless you. And see you next week.
Bye.
Make a wish for ones with a secret. And if I manifest best, guess I'll keep it. I'm so good with the phone.